Hello and good afternoon. Ayanna Pressley here. You're a Congresswoman and partner in the fight to cancel student debt and finally tackle this $1.7 trillion crisis as the racial and economic justice issue that it is. I want to thank the wonderful folks at the National Consumer Law Center and the Center for Responsible Lending for hosting this briefing and creating the space to center the impact that this debt crisis has had on Black women in particular. Shedding light on the disparate ways this debt has impacted our Black families and communities has never been more important, more necessary than right now. And make no mistake about it, our movement to cancel student debt is stronger than ever before. And it is because of the millions of borrowers who have raised their voices and shared their stories to shed light on the real human impact of this unprecedented crisis. For too long, the narrative has excluded us and the unique ways in which this debt has been exacerbating racial and economic inequities and compounding our gender and racial wealth gap. Due to generations of precise and intentional, what I would characterize as policy violence, Black families have been forced to take on higher rates of student debt for just a chance, at the same degree as our white peers. And as Black women, we bear the heaviest burden. On average, we owe more than $41,000. That's 22% more than the average student loan debt of white women. Layer that with the fact that we are forced to navigate lingering workplace discrimination, which is why we had to pass the Crown Act, and a persistent wage gap that allows us to earn just 61 cents to every dollar earned by a white man. This crisis is not naturally occurring, and over the pandemic, many of these inequities have only gotten worse. Let me be clear, this crisis is the result of policy choices. Discriminatory policies like redlining, which denied generations of Black and brown families the opportunity to build generational wealth. Policy choices like those made during the last financial crisis when policymakers bailed out Wall Street and abandoned Black families and communities who lost what little wealth we may have had. Policy choices that have resulted in the chronic underfunding of our historically Black colleges and universities, our community colleges, and state public universities, resulting in skyrocketing tuition and pushing a college degree out of reach for far too many. Thanks to relentless organizing and movement builders across the nation, President Biden chose to use authority granted by Congress under the Higher Education Act to offer financial relief to millions of federal student loan borrowers by extending the pause on student loan payments, not once, not twice, but 3 times now. Using this same authority, the Biden administration has another opportunity to stand on the right side of history and cancel student debt with a stroke of a pen. Doing so is one of the most effective ways to provide sweeping relief to millions of workers and families across this nation. Doing so would prepare generations of hurt and harm imposed on Black communities and help reduce the racial wealth gap. Doing so would boost our economy and set the groundwork for a just and equitable recovery. And perhaps most importantly, canceling student debt would not require further action from Congress. We already gave the president the authority. In this moment, our communities deserve and demand this sort of bold and transformative action. Student debt cancellation is core to any effort to build an equitable recovery from this pandemic that leaves no family behind. Student debt cancellation is not charity, it is reciprocity, and we must deliver. We're getting closer than ever to getting this done. I'm grateful and honored to be in this fight right alongside you.